The Minnesota Wild have made a very sneaky signing, and what this means going forward is something that is very interesting for the Minnesota Wild. We're going to be breaking down this signing, going over what it means for not just this year, but also for years to come, as well as the current goaltending situation with a very interesting look at what the plan is for this entire season. And with one plan going forward, things are bound to change. We're going to be breaking it down here all in this video. Before we do jump into it though, ladies and gentlemen, I have one request for you guys, and that is to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We're on the road to 2K. Your sport's been absolutely phenomenal, and we're nearly there. We're about 50 subscribers away, and like I said, your sport's been phenomenal. I appreciate all of you guys watching these videos, especially now we're getting closer and closer to the season with a lot more news bound to come very, very soon. But we need to jump straight into this video because obviously a lot of goalie stuff has gone down over the past couple of days, and now with a recent signing, things are really starting to heat up on the goaltending talk here for this Minnesota Wild team. And I'm going to touch on the signing first, jump into Filip Gustavson and Jesper Wallstedt stuff in a moment, which is going to cause a bit of a commotion, I think, and I want to get your guys' opinion on that as well. But first off, Michael Russo put this out. The Minnesota Wild have signed their 2024 5th-round pick, Chase Wutzke, to his entry-level deal. The Red Deer goalie had a real good rookie showcase, and that was, of course, the big part of why this signing went down. Now, the Wild see something in this kid, and rightfully so. What we saw at rookie camp in the rookie showcase was obviously very, very good, and Bill Guerin immediately knew that, and it made this signing, pretty early, which I don't think is a bad idea whatsoever. Now, going into really where he's been before, what he's done other than Red Deer, I mean, while you're taking a look at his career, while also going through the stats and everything, you may say, yeah, this is really not great when you're looking at it. But in perspective, the WHL is a very good offensive league, which also provides some good defensemen, but the offense in this league is very, very high. So considering this and kind of putting this into perspective at what it would compare to other leagues, this is some very good stats for him amongst all the WHL goaltenders. And really, once again, the rookie showcase set him apart from not just these stats, but also from what others have seen from him. The Wild see it, Bill Guerin sees it, and a smart move to come was made, because as we go down through it and take a look at where the goaltending really stands, the Wild don't have too many goaltenders right now. When you're looking at anybody who could crack this lineup, let's say this year, of course, we may see someone go down with an injury. Let's completely hope not. But when you look at Filip Gustavson, Jesper Wallstedt, we know those two are going to be the ones here in the the NHL this year, the two that are really going to hold the net down. Filip Gustavson, more so than Jesper Wallstedt, I think is safe to say right now, and I feel like that's something that is going to be a topic for discussion once we get to this next topic. But you go down then to the AHL and Cal Peterson, Samuel Levi, and also Riley Mercer. Riley Mercer coming here this year out of the QMJHL, playing now his first season. So whether or not he will be in the ECHL or the AHL this year, still yet to be determined. But I think that Samuel Levi and Cal Peterson with a level of NHL experience, and Samuel Levi being this kind of third-esque goaltender in the line right now of getting to the NHL, you can expect some moves to be made because, of course, Filip Gustavson now going into this contract year, he's going to be in a very interesting situation when it comes down to it because of how he's been playing, because of what the money might cost, and also where things are currently standing on the goaltending side of things. So having Chase Wutzke here signed to this deal makes a lot of sense, especially from when we're looking at the plan going for the next couple of years with this goaltending situation, and having him crack this lineup, get ready, get into the program and the system sooner, and get to learn from a lot of these players. And we saw immediately what sitting behind Marc Andre Fleury did to Filip Gustavson. I think that's something that he learned a lot from him, and Filip Gustavson now can teach a lot of these other next goaltenders coming up what Marc Andre Fleury was all about, because, you don't play 20 years in the NHL for nothing, and Marc Andre Fleury was absolutely a big part of that. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see, but it makes a lot of sense now looking at it from a different perspective as to why they did go ahead and sign Chase here to this ELC at this very moment, especially to get another year off that. So something to keep in mind there when we go on to our next topic, because, of course, as we know, Filip Gustavson really had a stellar year last year, an absolute stellar year, and at the beginning, there was conversation about whether we would be trading him, whether he would walk, whether or not Jesper Wallstedt would be the goaltender come the end of the year, but absolutely not. That did not happen. Of course, Filip Gustavson was absolutely fantastic. Jesper Wallstedt was, frankly, terrible at all levels, and going into this year, a lot more questions are being raised now about what the plan is going to be. And when you're looking at Filip Gustavsson's whole kind of contract here on the projections from AFP Analytics, a 6-year deal by 7.2. Now, whether or not that will be with the Minnesota Wild is still yet to be determined. But as of right now, from what we've been seeing, it certainly seems like the case that he is going to be with the Wild here in this remainder of the future for him, at least, for the time being. But going into a few quotes here as well, we have some very interesting things that have kind of come up. And Michael Russo put this out regarding Jesper Wallstedt. He said he feels good about himself and his game after a summer reset, and he is very much ready to put last year's terrible season behind him. He says, nothing I want to look at or talk about anymore, he said on that season last year, which, of course, was, frankly, abysmal. I think there's no other way of putting it. I think he would be willing to say that. I think it's fair to say for us to say that as well, which, put us in a very interesting situation last year. But going into this year now, he knows that that spot is still not safe for him, but he is going to be really the front runner for that second goaltender here on the team. But as I mentioned, things can change, and he knows that as well. But going into this year, and especially on a bit of a situation, an interesting situation with Filip Gustavsson, they have him here. This comes at a very interesting time, I guess we could say as well, with Jeremy Swayman, Jake Ottinger, UC Soros, John Gibson, all here. Now, this comes from Evolution Hockey. You see, they have him at $7.6 million, of course, also the same as AFP Analytics there, and cap wages having this put out. So, looking at the realm of goalies that we're seeing Filip Gustavsson in, maybe a bit biased, of course, but I think that he is one of the better goaltenders right here on this list, and I think that is fair to say, and arguably would be the best. Now, one thing you do see as well, with Swayman, Ottinger, UC Saros, and John Gibson, all did sign for 8 years, which is something that I think is going to be a bit of a question mark surrounding other ones. But at the age of 27, I think a 5-year deal is much safer when you have Jesper Wallstedt available, who was projected to be one of the better goalies, in the league in a couple of years when being drafted. So it's a fair assessment to say right now that this contract is definitely one to watch here over this, not just season, but also the preseason, also through practice, the camp, what they're saying, what people are saying. It is a major thing coming up for Filip Gustavsson and what's going to happen. And, I mean, with the stats over the past couple of years, I think it is safe to say, and especially last year, 256 goals against a 914 save percentage in 58 games. He's taking over this net, and it is his net to lose at this point. He wants to be here, and he's been really confident in that he wants this net to himself. And we do have another quote coming out, and regarding all of this once again, Jesper Wallstedt saying, "I wouldn't say my spot is safe for anything," he said. "There's a spot, and it's up for me to show that I want to be that guy, that I'm deserving of that shot." So Jesper Wallstedt also not necessarily saying, hey, I could probably be the starter here. He knows that he has to earn his right. It's not going to be given to him. Filip Gustavsson, the way he played last year, and mainly how he played in the playoffs, is going to be a big part of this. Because with the playoffs, even the past 2 seasons, 5 and 6 games, completely disregard that because he's held his own. 271 goals against a 914 save percentage, and the previous year, a 233 goals against a 921 save percentage. At this point right now, and as we currently stand right now on September 23rd, 2025, Filip Gustavsson is going to have to be a very big candidate for goalie of the future for this Wild team. And that raises a lot of question marks around what's going to be happening with Jesper Wallstedt, and also what's going to be happening with a lot of these younger goalies trying to make the process of eventually being a starter and backup for this Minnesota Wild team. So let me know what you think in the comments below, because I think there's a lot of question marks surrounding this, but right now, Filip Gustavsson has certainly earned that right, and I think is a leading candidate to become this, at least next couple of years, the starter and continue to be the starter of this team, and whatever that means for Wallstedt is going to have to be in another video, but let me know in the comments below what you think that could mean for him. That's all I got here in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.